everybody. It's Anthony Brogdon. I'm coming at you on the other front of talking about mentorship is the answer. Because I honestly believe that if more men would step up and more women step up in younger people's lives who are missing that parent, that they, with good direction and foresight and commitment to the cause, would help change some lives. And let's say it would help the community at large, all communities, with less people walking around who are, for lack of a better word, lost. And so I have a gentleman on the channel today that has probably one of America's largest mentorship organizations. I know they have a national footprint on America. And I'm gonna have him introduce himself, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Anthony. And thanks for preaching the gospel of mentoring for sure, and all you're doing. Yeah, my name is David Shapiro. Probably most importantly, I'm in my 15th year of mentoring the same young man who's one of my best friends now. Mentor really, was very much founded on the idea that you just said. I mean, it was founded 32 years ago. It was founded because a bunch of folks were convinced that mentoring, most largely practiced at that time by big brothers, big sisters of America, needed to grow. It needed to sprout all over the nation. And so they created this organization, Mentor, with the belief that we didn't need one more mentoring organization. We needed an organization that could support all the folks that wanted to support organizations in mentoring and all the people who wanted to become mentors. And they were New Yorkers. So their founding line was, you can't build skyscrapers without infrastructure. And they wanted to build the infrastructure, the roots of a mentoring movement. And so they came up with the standards for mentoring programs and the training, and that stuff's only progressed over time. And then our local affiliates in all over the country who basically are like one-stop shops you can call and say, hey, I want to know how to recruit mentors. I want to know how to start a mentoring program in a third grade classroom. I want to start a mentoring program, that will build law enforcement and community trust. I mean, whatever the goal might be, they're the folks that have the expertise and help people build mentoring programs and try to lever relationship, right? Which is the oldest form of intervention we know in civilization to try to solve problems. We're just trying to add assets to young people's lives through organizations across the country. We're not trying to say that anybody or anyone is the problem. We're just trying to add extra relationships to kids' lives.
Let me ask you this: how does somebody mentor? What's the process of, I want to do it. And I'm ready to make a phone call. Yeah. Then after I make the call, what happens, so on and so forth.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the easiest place to start, if you don't know where, is you go to our website, which is mentoring.org. You click a button that says become a mentor. You get a chance to put in your zip code anywhere in the nation. You can put in a lot of other stuff if you want, like, I want to mentor first graders. I want to mentor, you could select more criteria, and you find a mentoring program in your area, and then it'll click connect to the program. And next thing you know, you'll be in touch with them. But to your point, and I think this is what scares a lot of people about mentoring, they think like the next day they're going to be a mentor. And that's not the way the process works. The program is then going to contact you. They're going to take your information and they're going to do some screening because they have to keep children safe and to ensure safety in their program. Then they're also going to do some training of you to help you become be ready to be a mentor. They're going to also ask you questions around, what do you like to do for fun? Like, what are your interests? Are your interests coding, or my interest is coaching baseball, or your interest might be gaming? They're going to try to find young people that have similar interests. And then they're going to also be calling you once a month, once a week. It depends on the program, and saying, how's it going? What's going on? I mean, there's a high level of training and support. You're not just out there on your own.
Sure.
So that's really, and then when you've got to move away or you're at the end of your commitment, they're going to help end the relationship. Not everybody ends up 14 years in a relationship like I am, they're going to help you end the relationship in a healthy way too, because that's a huge part of it. You don't want to leave anybody disappointed. You're trying to,
Sure.
so there's a lot of structure in place if you become a mentor.
Another question would be, okay, I've been approved, the organization, what do I do then? And what I mean by that is they introduce me to this person. What type of time commitment might it be? What do I do with this person? That kind of thing.
I mean, nowadays there's a ton of different models, right? So one of the things, the most sort of like classic and traditional model is that you would spend 1 hour a week with a young person. And if it's what's called community-based mentoring, that means you figure out with the young person based on your own scheduling, on your own convenience, and the young person's maybe their mother or their guardian or father or whoever is their guardian. You would schedule time and you would do activities depending on their age. I mean, it might be mini golf. It might be, helping them with a resume. I mean, it just depends what's coming up in their lives. And you would get to know them and schedule time. And it might equal 2 to 4 hours a month, 1 hour a week, however you figure it out. That's called community-based mentoring. A lot of the mentoring that goes on now is site-based mentoring, which means like you would go to school or an after-school site. Again, once a week for an hour is pretty typical. And it might happen for the school year, but normally it takes a little while to get going. So it might be 7 months. It might be 1 year. Now, people always get scared about this, right? So what if I go away? Or what if my work sends me somewhere? Or, I mean, it's a human relationship. You just tell the young person, I'll be away next week. And they know as long as you communicate. So it's not like you can't ever disappear or anything, but that's usually how it works. Some are project-based, like we're going to build a robot. And then by the end, if you're in a STEM mentoring program or something. So there's a lot of different varieties, but that's what it ends up looking like.
Is there a money commitment mostly for the mentors?
Yeah, I mean, usually the sort of rule of thumb is, money shouldn't represent the value in your relationship. Like you shouldn't be giving the young person money, that shouldn't be a part of the relationship. Will you potentially spend some money on activities? Sure. If you're driving around, will you spend some money? There are some programs, if it involves traveling a long way, that might reimburse or stipend, adults to figure it out. But mainly you're not giving money to anyone, but you are spending money if you're going to grab a slice of pizza or something like that.
Yeah. I guess two more questions. As a mentor, what is my responsibility to do? What am I trying to do with this person? I'm spending time, but I'm also trying to have a conversation.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends a lot on what the program is all about.
Sure.
Whether there's like a tutoring component or you're just like playing mini golf. But the number one thing you're doing is showing up consistently, because you might be with a young person who doesn't have a whole lot of folks who are able to show up and give them consistent one-on-one attention. So that alone, doing what you say you're going to do, showing up and being in a one-on-one relationship, that right away is there. That's it. That's just you being you, upholding your commitments, doing that. Beyond that, listening. A lot of people think it's about advice giving, but that might be part of it. But first you need to listen and meet a young person where they're at. It's not just about like you dispensing wisdom. You got to listen to a young person.
Okay.
I think unconditional love. I know love is a word that scares some people, but being able to just show up unconditionally, not all the times are going to be good times. Not every conversation is going to be about a success. There will be times when different things happen, but you got to unconditionally show interest and appreciation for the young person. That doesn't mean not holding them accountable to like, hey, you didn't show up last time, or I thought you were going to call the guy I said you were going to call. It doesn't mean you don't hold accountability, but it's saying like, I am with you, Anthony, no matter what. I'm with you, no matter where this goes. And then I think, sharing some of your life experience. I think a lot of people also think it's about sharing only good stuff, but sharing missteps you made and things you've learned along the way, and being vulnerable with a young person that you don't have all the answers is important. And that's a big part of that is really like learning from them and helping them figure out what they care about and helping them guide towards those things rather than prescribing your own version of success onto them.
One more question. What has being a mentor done for you?
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? And then what has the mentee said to you that choked you up, or that you've heard comments that choked you up?
Yeah.
What you're about to say will encourage others so that they can get this same good feeling that you got.
Yeah. Well, I would say for one, it's done more for me than maybe anything in my life other than being a husband and being a parent. It is both joyful, very joyful, and humbling to see the world through a kid's eyes. And there is something unbelievably liberating about spending time with a kid who's not your own, but is a kid that you care deeply about. It's also a great chance to learn about other people's lives, all parts of them. But think about the heroic act of a parent calling and saying, I want another adult to be a friend to my child. Like, that's an incredibly heroic and courageous act. And so I've been let into the life of, my mentee's family, all the good stuff and not so good stuff. But I learned from being let into their lives, and I've let him into mine as well. And he sees all of it. And so I think just watching him discover, watching him struggle, watching him celebrate tomorrow night. I mean, this is not a fun thing, but tomorrow night we're going to go buy a suit together because he's got to go to a memorial service for another mentor who at his work that he really cared about, but he hasn't bought a suit before. So he's 24 and he asked me, like, can we go buy a suit together? So I'll just be there, but it means a lot to me to be able to help him pay homage to another mentor, his shift supervisor at his job. And so I just feel really privileged to be in his life. I think the things that have choked me up, I mean, the line that I've never, ever, ever forgotten is he said to me when we first, one of the first times we were going to do something, this is, mind you, he was 11. He said, this is weird. And I said, well, of course this is weird. You don't know me. And he said, I said, well, what's weird to you? And he said, I never do anything good enough or bad enough to get an adult's attention. And I just thought for a minute, and I thought, man, that's pretty much how we respond to kids and really people in our lives. It's like they got to be doing something really bad or doing something really good to get our attention. And this kid is saying, this means so much to me that someone would just hang out with me without any pretext of good or bad. And that just really moved me about what it means to spend time with someone in the non-dramatic moments. Another time a kid said, this was not to me, I was listening to a story he was telling, and he said, a kid got shot in my neighborhood. And all these adults started showing up. And I wasn't interested in them because my mentor had been coming every Tuesday for a long time. No one needed to die for him to show up. He didn't need to be a hero. He just kept coming. And so on that Tuesday, it meant just as much to me as any other Tuesday. But like, kids recognize who shows up in dramatic moments and who's just kind of always there. And a mentor gets to just always be there no matter what. And it could end or start or begin wherever, but you're not saving people's lives. Like, I think that's a real mistake that mentors make. You're not saving anybody. You're joining someone to walk alongside them in their journey.
There you go.
That's heroic. That's heroic.
That's there you go. That's the closing remark in that regard. And so what's the website again? And so on.
And so go to mentoring.org and mentoring.org, and you can find everything from how to start a mentoring program, how to become a mentor, how to advocate for more public, funds to go to mentoring. All those things are on there. Commercials about mentoring. It's all at mentoring.org. And those affiliates that I was talking about are local experts. There's a whole list of them in all the states as well. So please go there. And our purpose is just to make sure that anybody who's interested in mentoring in any way and contributing to advancing the mentoring movement in America can find their place in that website and take action.
There you go. I thank you so very much for spending time out of your busy schedule to share that with me, first of all, and then the people who watch and view this, because I guess the charge is we need more mentors.